The levels is good. That sounds good to me. What a boy. Okay. Big man, I want to hear some hot takes. Let's see how woke you are. You know something about podcasts? Hell, dígame. Kidding me or what? I got these 3 drunk uncles with a sports podcast. They say they got fire takes, pure fuego. You find them wherever you listen to podcasts at. If it's what they say it is, you like and you subscribe. Listen, like, and subscribe, yeah. You know how to call into the show? Yeah, man, through the podbean. You'll need headphones with a mic to call in. That's no problem, man. They'll also be at Sharky's, 8:07 p.m. on the first Wednesdays of the month. You may get some free blue chew. And they keep receipts, so if anything happens in the sports world, MyT's gonna drop a take faster than a rabbit gets fault. There's only 3 things I have in this world. My word, my balls, and this podcast. And I don't break them for nobody. MyT Sports Season 7. I think that's my cue. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Dollar Throw My Dealer. It is another fuego day in the hottest city in the world. Actually, it's probably not the hottest city in the world anymore. They said we were gonna have highs of 65 today, lows of 42. It's been a chill in the air. I think I seen somebody's pool freeze over slightly.
Maybe you threw away that napkin that was over there?
I don't know, is that it?
No, I left a napkin right here. You threw it away?
Maybe.
Okay, because it had my yoni pearl in it.
Sorry, I may have.
I need $8 back.
Okay. We'll discuss this afterwards. But
All right,
feel good, you can get it back.
Love you.
Yeah, love you too. Broads, they see you here working, and they still gotta bother you. Let's go. That was some insignificant shit. Folks, it's another fuego day in the hottest city in the world. Thank you again for joining the MyT Sports Podcast. Folks, as always, we're coming to you live and direct from here in South Florida. And boy, do we have a big show for you after the weekend has just finished. Okay, look like we're still maybe having a few audio issues coming in and out with our live feed to the internet. Don't you guys forget that you can also catch us on our call-in hotline that we utilize through the Blue Chew app. So if you go to the Blue Chew app and you go ahead and you find that and you get to the live section, you'll be able to find us. You'll be able to find us and call into the podcast. Alrighty, folks. I'm talking about we got a big show for you today. We got a big show for you today. As some people already know, we started teasing this yesterday. So, folks, of course, you know we have a little talk for our Rock Nation Sports segment. As you know, we are the favorite podcast for Rock Nation Sport. We have a little bit of Florida man to get into. We're gonna have our Blue Chew promo code of the week. We're gonna have a little bit of Knicks talk. We're gonna maybe get into some lighter side of sports. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm not quite sure about that yet. Obviously, folks, you know we got the tea of the weekend. We got the birthday party. And don't you worry. We got football, so no need to fear. The underdogs are here. We have all that and more for you coming up in just a bit, folks. First hour, we're gonna get into our Knicks talk, do our birthday party. Second hour, we'll start breaking out a couple of things around the league, and start getting these games out of the way from this weekend. And who knows where we go from there, folks. Big show. Actually, you know I got something for that. So let's get it started. You know what we say here, regardless of the time. Take that. And regardless of the weather.
You play to win the game. Hello?
It's always a good time to talk some sports. Let's stir this motherfucker up and get popping. So, let's start talking. Woo! back at it like a sports fanatic. MyT Sports. That's right on time. Folks, man. What a weekend we have, folks. This is Season 7, Episode 54, Excerpt 387 of MyT Sports Podcast. We are 13 episodes away. So we're just about a month away, folks. Just about a month away from having our 400th episode. I think I'm going to want to do that show that I'm live at Sharky's. I think I'm going to do that live at Sharky's. So if you want to catch the 400th episode, please come down live to Sharky's, folks. As also, we'll be having our next show live at Sharky's as well, as it's going to be the next Wednesday up in the dock. And then again, you'll catch us back in a couple of weeks when we go back there for the first Wednesday of the month as well. I think that's going to be kicking off right around January 7th or January 8th, one of those two dates. Let's go ahead and get directly into the birthday party. Let's get things started because, like I said, well, it's the big show. Yeah, because it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. I'm retarded. Check it. Yeah, check it. Because it's your birthday, we sing happy birthday. Check it. Yeah, check it. Yeah. Okay, folks, as you guys know, this is our birthday segment of the show where we like to highlight any and everybody that happened to have a birthday over the weekend, folks. So the first birthday that we have is actually going to start on the 23rd. Why the 23rd? Apparently I had no birthdays lined up for the 22nd. Even though. Nope, that was 19th. Yeah, I got no birthdays lined up for the 22nd. So I'd like to say on the 23rd, I want to say happy birthday to a friend of mine, Willie Smiley. Also, I want to say happy birthday on the 23rd to my auntie Maria, right? And then also, I want to say happy birthday for the 24th to a battle buddy of mine, homeboy Dewan Bowdry. And also another special birthday shout out to my niece Milana. Yeah. That's my middle sister's youngest daughter, which is like fuck, cause she's 20 already. Like she just turned 20. Happy birthday, little one. Loves you. I know I'm barely ever around, but the love is still strong. You understand? So to everybody out there, so to Willie and to Maria and to Dewan and to Milana, again, yeah, it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. Because it's your birthday, we sing happy birthday. Check it, yeah. Check it, yeah. So to all of you, hope you have a happy birthday. Hope you party hard. Hope you enjoy everything. Hope you regret nothing. But more importantly, you get your weekend at Bernie's on, and you continue to stay MyT. Check it. Woo. That was a quick birthday party for whole time. Welcome to the podcast. I see the people joining through the Podbean hotline. Don't let you guys forget, if you are joining us through Podbean, that is our call-in hotline for the podcast. If you would like to call in with your sports questions, or if you just want to call in to yap it up real quick, you can go ahead and call it in. We'll go ahead and queue up and we'll get you into the podcast. Folks, DJ MyT, hey, Reggie, do me a favor now? Cut that beat for me, right? Because you guys know the very next thing that we like to do, right? On Mondays. Come on, weird like that, right? I'm weird like that. I'm cool like that. I go to school like that. I'm no fool like that. I use my tool like that. In the pool like that. I'm a aristocrat because I do that. Folks, as you know, right? And if this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. But folks, we have the Knicks game. We have a sporting event on in the background as usual. And today we have the Knicks game on, folks, as the New York Knicks are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I'm not mistaken, the Cleveland Cavaliers are currently ranked third. Is it third? The Cleveland Cavaliers may be ranked third. Okay, we're gonna put it up. We'll get, as soon as that pulls up, we'll double check. I think the Cleveland guys are ranked third in the East, right? With a record of they're fifth in the East. Something just happened. With a record of 28-19. Like I said, it's not that far behind because it's sharing their division is Chicago and Milwaukee. Chicago with a record of 28-17 in third place, and then Milwaukee with a record in fourth place with a record of 30-19. It looks like the Cleveland Cavaliers has gone on a run, folks. Last time I checked up, the New York Knicks, it came out of half. The New York Knicks were down at the halftime, 51-50. The Cleveland Cavaliers missed about their first 3 to 4 shots, helping the New York Knicks open up to a 59-50 point lead. And now it looks like the New York Knicks are down heavily, folks. Last time I may have seen it may be 61-69. And it looks like 72-61. Okoro and Kevin Love and Okoro are both heating up right now. There's about 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. We will continue to keep you guys updated with this podcast. As you know, folks, if you've been to this podcast now, we have a couple of drunk uncles around the globe, folks. We got one in Cleveland, we got one in Toronto, we got one in Cali, we got a drunk auntie in Vegas, we got a drunk auntie in New York, we got the whole drunken squad spread across the whole entire drunken nation, folks. If you're part of the drunken nation, you go ahead and you drop that hashtag drunk nation. real quick for me, right? So as soon as we get a couple of them checking in, folks, we'll go ahead and go a little bit around the league and go ahead and inquire about any current news coming out of their cities. But for right now, before we get into any news of the city, let's go ahead and start our segment that is very quickly sweeping over the whole entire drunken nation, folks. And that is the way that we like to start off our Mondays right after the birthday party, and that is yapping about the tea of the weekend. Folks, in the tea of the weekend, I hate to say it, but Aaron Rodgers is the new Peyton Manning. Basically, he is the greatest regular season quarterback that has ever lived. Aaron Rodgers. Take the KD route. If you can't beat him, join him. Julius Randle. The trade deadline. It's February 10th. I'm just saying. Joel Embiid quietly drops 50. Jokic quietly drops 50 with a triple-double. How can big men be so quiet? Joe Burrow, keeping it thorough. One word for him.
Okay.
Folks, and then there's Ryan Tannehill, who may have just let Adam Gase back in the door. That's all I got to say about that. Then there is the infamous Tom Brady.
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
It's a young man's game. Time to hang it up. I think it's a wrap. It's past your time. And also,
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
Bing bong. And Tom Brady. How does it feel to get Tom Brady by the referees?
Danger zone.
Matthew Stafford. Stay focused. Antonio Brown. Stay classy. One of these teams are not the same. One of these teams are not like the others. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that one of these teams are different. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reeves, they different. Folks, that is your tea of the weekend. And what tea it was. I can't believe. Like I personally can't believe what has happened this whole entire weekend. Have no fear, underdogs are here. I think that may be the theme. Dance, 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 dance. for this week's show is the underdogs. It's the underdogs. What? The underdogs. It's the underdogs. What? The underdogs. It's the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders. What? The Rough Riders. The Rough Riders. What? It was definitely a crazy weekend. It was definitely a crazy week, a crazy sports weekend, crazy football weekend, crazy basketball weekend, baseball doesn't have any weekends because they are still on strike. So coming into this game, let's give you an update. The New York Knicks are currently losing by 14 points in the third quarter. Listen, even though the Cavaliers started off sluggishly, they quickly found their rhythm and they ended up taking it to the New York Knicks. And now, as it currently stands, New York Knicks are down by 14 points with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left to go on the clock. 76-62 Cleveland. Let's get into our Knicks talk. Before the Knicks go ahead and ruin my mood today, let's get ahead and get into our Knicks talk. Because listen, whether they win or whether they lose, I still got my Knicks talk. So whatever they giving me light or they giving me dark, I gotta stay with that spark and I stay with that Knicks talk. Because we all have the dog of stalks when we talk our Knicks talk. We channel our inner stalks, baby. We channel our inner stalks. You know what I mean? This ain't a lighter side of news, but you know what I mean? John Starks, I'm prime candidate for a lighter side of news, Presidente. Before there was Stephen Curry and them boys, there was John Starks out there giving people the business. Shout out to a couple of the original OG lightskins. You know what I mean? Muggsy Bowles, John Starks, Doug Christie's of the world. You know what I mean? Like I think Doug Christie was light skinned. The Grant Hills, you know what I mean? Shout out for you guys paving the way for all light skins out there. You know what I mean? Because without you guys putting in that good fight and showing your toughness, that it wouldn't have been the same because you guys are basically being looked at like Europeans. But I got a joke for you guys. If you're American in the bathroom, if you're American in the living room, what are you in the bathroom? I'll let you sit on that. I'll let a couple of you guys go ahead and weigh in your answer, and we'll go ahead and get that covered in just a moment. Just a little quiz, little pop quiz, little trivia, little something to play around with, right? That's like the New York Knicks went into LA the other day, and they made sure that there was nothing to play around with that LA squad, folks. The New York Knicks took on the LA Clippers, and they went in there and they won 110-102. Now, it has to be mentioned in this game that there was... Are they looking at this to see what kind of fouls? I like Quentin Grimes. You see Quentin Grimes getting a lot of minutes for the New York Knicks. We'll go ahead and talk about that in just a minute as well. New York Knicks with a record of 110-102 as they beat the LA Chargers, the LA Clippers in that last game, folks. That game they did not have any Paul George. In that game they did not have any Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has still been out for the whole entire season. New York played a solid game. From wire to wire, they played a physical game. They played a purposeful game, decisive even. R.J. Barrett once again has continued to show his strides as he once again leads the team in scoring with about 28 points scored in this game. Struggled a little bit towards the end once he hit 28. After he hit 28, his body just went into autopilot. It was like, I'm rejecting this. I'm rejecting it. Transaction denied. Transaction denied. Transaction denied. Because he basically kind of struggled just to even get to 30 points, even though he had about four good solid looks at it. We see a nice contest by Grimes as Cleveland Cavaliers miss 76-63. That was a nice challenge by Grimes. And Quentin Grimes takes a long three, and it looks like it's short from here. But no, folks, that was good. Quentin Grimes, long three, 66-76. New York Knicks losing by 10. So R.J. Barrett had another solid game, folks, where he was able to lead all New York Knicks scorers with 28 points. He would get, obviously, as I said, he would struggle just to get to his 30, but to get into the 30, I guess, wasn't really a big thing. I just wanted to see him score 30 for just personal reasons, nothing major. Probably could have used it towards the end to help secure the game a little bit easier. As you know, the New York Knicks always have to add some kind of heart attack scenario to the game for you to have to blow your cool, and this last game wasn't any different. let's talk about R.J. Barrett for a second in this game, right? R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle in combination in a weird way, because both of them actually had a good game at the same time, and you saw early on what this team could look like. Another 3-pointer by Quentin Grimes after a nice defensive play, folks. This has quickly this has quickly changed from a 14-point lead down to just a 7-point lead. And in the third quarter, folks, Cleveland Cavaliers going up on top 76-69. One of our favorite numbers here on the Mighty Sports Podcast. Get your drunk uncles out. Put your drunk members away. Nobody needs to see that in their face. Oh man. This has been a really, really, really beautiful weekend, right? New York Knicks had a really good victory to start that off. You know the New York Knicks, they haven't been very well in those matinee games. This was one of those matinee games. New York Knicks played at 1 p.m. LA flew over. New York Knicks handled their business. I said R.J. Barrett, for what seems now like the last 10 out of the last 12 games, he is the leading scorer for the New York Knicks, putting up just about 25 points per game. It looks like maybe like somewhere around like 22, 23, right? But putting up over 25 points again. And you're starting to see this pattern. It's something that we talked about when it came to R.J. Barrett right at the beginning of his struggles, right when he was catching COVID, where we came out and we said that, you know what, he looks winded. He looks like he needs to recover, and we thought that he may have needed to go to the bench. And right after we made that proclamation, as you know, R.J. Barrett is a big fan of the podcast and he's always listening, right? That he had one of his best games directly after that, and that momentum has continued. Now it's weird because I hear Knicks fans talking about, hey, they don't know right now if they can trust in R.J. Barrett, because they think that R.J. Barrett, he's hot for 3 games, he's cold for another 3, he's hot for 2, he's cold for 2. But this hasn't been the case. This has been the case so far. Actually, a little before the beginning of the new year. But if you look at the beginning of the new year, R.J. Barrett has technically led this team in scoring. Period. .com, whatever you want to say, .net, because he gets buckets actually. So RJ has been really holding up his deal, and it's one of the things that we said to hold him accountable, or that we laid out there to let you guys know that, you know what, he wasn't quite there yet for what we were seeing, but if he could do this, and we put a benchmarker out there, then it would at least solidify him being picked top 3. And what that was just to start averaging 22 to 25 points per game. Get those numbers up a little bit. You was averaging 17. Now we're talking about get physical, get to the line, and get 7 free throws. You're going to get a couple of and ones. You're going to get a couple of chippies. But on top of leading the team in scoring, you're also starting to see him really use his size, I feel. Like, and not just on random drives to the lane. You're starting to see him utilize his size to get rebounds, box people out, guard the 4 a few times when needed. So far this season, remember he's about 6'8", 230. Which in today's NBA is a big motherfucker. So we get this. So we're starting to see R.J. Barrett just slowly come into that role, and what that role is, possibly being a number 1 scorer, because we've already deemed or dubbed the other 2 individuals that were drafted ahead of him, Zion Williamson, even though he hasn't played in about 2 years, and obviously John Morant, because John Morant has been tearing it up for the last 2 years. I take back a statement where I said that R.J. Barrett may have grown more than John Morant. I said that sometime last year in the podcast. Sorry, that Benadryl is kicking in. If R.J. Barrett can start maintaining about over 22 points per game, he's going to 100% silence all the critics that say that, hey, are you the number 1 guy? Or are you even worth being drafted number 3? And also, you know what? It may start making Julius Randle's movements, or a trade for Julius Randle, a little bit more susceptible. If you're thinking that, okay, R.J. Barrett can now start being that guy, but you have to understand, when R.J. Barrett starts popping up, or if he starts cooking like he's been cooking, who's gonna pass through the double team to help bail him out? Because Julius Randle isn't there. That was a lot what we saw in this Clippers game. Is that you saw a decent amount of feeding between the two. You saw both of them looking for each other a little too often at times, passing up a few clean shots. But there was a tone that was trying to be set that game, and it was defense, and it was sharing the ball, and it definitely did do. We saw a little bit of Emmanuel Quickly, and Emmanuel Quickly, I still remain to be impressed by him. Not as impressed as I am about Quentin Grimes, but this was obviously the second year I'm seeing him. What I am seeing is something that I've been telling you guys since about last year, is that I see the future point guard of the New York Knicks already on this team. I don't see the New York Knicks need to go out and go get a point guard unless you are really bringing in the John Morants of the world. And there is only John Morant in the world at this time. Ooh, Obi, you got to get that. Obi Toppin is trying to alley-oop to try to bring this back down to a 10-point game. He ended up missing that alley-oop. Cleveland goes ahead and drives into the lane a little bit out of control. You see Knicks players on the floor. Look like he's trying to kick that ball out. Is he going to be able to get that out in time? Oh, yep, he got it out to Kevin. Kevin is spot up for a three-pointer. Kevin loves the three. And that wasn't Kevin. And we see a little exchanging of the threes as New York Knicks come back with a three of their own, and who by none other, a name that you guys should have been quite familiar with by this podcast alone, but Quentin Grimes already. If I'm mistaken, that's at least the third three-pointer I've seen him hit in less than a quarter, folks. He started heating up in the end of the third quarter, so in this half alone, and we see his defense. So he may have like three. Oh, close that. New York Knicks are still down by 12. It's 86-74. Emmanuel Quickly has been on top of the key. Oh, gets the pick and roll, brings it back out. He thought about it shooting it for a minute. He got the ball to Taj Gibson. It looks like Taj Gibson is going to take a. He's gonna take a little nasty bump or whatever. And look, this may still continue to be Knicks ball. What's going on, Mark? How you doing? Welcome to the podcast. What's going on? What's going on? We got our residential Dallas Cowboy fan, the drunk uncle, the Dallas Cowboy drunk uncle of the podcast. How have you been? How have you been holding up? I know these couple of weeks have been rough for you.
Yeah, man. It's all good. We're waiting for Sean Payton to be available so we can snatch him up real quick.
Dallas Cowboy fans, you guys never fail. But you know what though, you actually have one of those teams where you're right there. You're like Buffalo not quite like Buffalo, but you're like Buffalo in a weird way where you're right there. Like you have the team right now to keep banging on that door to see if you can make some noise. It's just that you gotta bang louder. You motherfuckers is like people that you banging too timidly. It's been a rough one. We're gonna get into football in the second hour of the podcast. Don't you guys worry, as we continue a little bit with our Knicks talk.
Did they win today?
Well, currently they are playing right now. I think they're down by about 12 still, with about 8 minutes left to go in the fourth. They're playing the 6th seed Cleveland. And, folks, here goes another three-pointer by the New York Knicks, this time by R.J. Barrett. Folks, they have now reduced this back down to a 9-point game, folks. So that's about over 8 minutes. As you know, the New York Knicks tend to be a scrappy team, folks. Now, somebody that we end up seeing today that we have not seen in a while, and that is one Kimba. Waka. As he makes a return from knee soreness. But it looks like right now, as the fourth quarter is starting, that they're going to be playing a little bit more Emmanuel Quickly and Quentin Grimes. Which, listen, if you're a Knicks fan, this is probably what you want to see. Like, this is probably one of the lineups that you prefer to see is Emmanuel Quickly at the 1, Quentin Grimes at the 2, with R.J. Barrett at the 3. Especially with all of these guys. Because this is the lineup that... that's going to be the backcourt that needs the development. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna benefit more from the playing time. Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, Alex Burke, they're not benefiting from the playing time except for they're playing in the NBA and they get to continue to try to make some more money. But your future is gonna be based around those three guys. Like if you're Knicks fans right now, you may be seeing I know anything can happen to get rid of players or whatever, this, that, and the third. But if Tom Thibodeau can stop being stubborn and get the stick out of his ass a little bit, he may be seeing that, hey, these three guys are the way to go. And you see one of the things that makes it so different when they're on the field, especially when they're on the court with Obi as well, the energy is just different. It goes from a veteran lineup that is slow and methodical to a young lineup that is fast and methodical. You know what I mean? Like they push the tempo a little bit better, and that's what ends up getting them a lot more 3-pointers, and these sometimes open threes from their bench squad. They have more capable shooters and they have a better green light. Like, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Now, as I'm watching this Knicks and Cleveland game, right? As I said earlier, the Cleveland Cavaliers are currently the 6th seed in the East. And you know what's weird to me? When I look at the Cleveland Cavaliers reminds me a lot of the Knicks from last year.
I can see that.
Where it's a young squad. They're built a lot around their defense. Like even just hearing the commentators talk today, right? They don't have a lot of scoring that they could get from. What it is defense and hustle and transition. And bringing it to people every single night when they're not expecting you to bring it to them because it's been Cleveland. But you know what though? Even Cleveland can catch a bone every once in a while. You know, a bone.
It was funny when they were playing against Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They were talking about how Allen, they didn't want to give up Allen. You know what I'm saying? Jared Allen. But shit, to get Harden, they had to give him up. You know?
Yeah.
It was like it was hard to give him up, put it that way. That's what they were saying.
I know it definitely was.
Yeah, sure. He balling up, man. He balling.
Well, he's always been, but he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's a rim protector. He finished strong at the win. He's young. He's energetic, and when he can stay healthy in his role, he's nice. Not an option to go score, but he's a nice option to have down there and a nice protector. What's going on, Ron? So I'm watching this Knicks and Cleveland game, right? And if you guys, and I know that every city has their own little shows and stuff like that, right? Like for New York, I know we have the bike dude, we have the lady with the plates, you know what I mean? But we also have like our Knicks City dances, right? And we also have like our children dances and our kid dances, right? And then we also have the street team dances. I'm watching this Cleveland game. They had the geriatric dancers. Like they had the old people that had to do leg moves and they couldn't lift their legs up. Like it was one of those kind of things. And then I turn away the TV and I come back and look, and next you know they have the grizzly dancers. What's a grizzly dancer? If you don't know what a grizzly is by now, it's people dressed up in hot dogs and dancing. Yeah, they got the old Blajul dancers. They got the grizzly dancers out there. And then, to top it off, right, the last icing on the cake was that they had a fan that won a contest to be able to show off their talents during the halftime show. Well, the kid that was showing off his talents was a New York fan and started singing Frank Sinatra's New York, New York.
Nice.
I'm like, yo, Cleveland, what the fuck are you doing? And also,
Cleveland, this is for you.
you have the old geriatric dancers, you have the grizzly dancers, and then you got people from your own city singing New York songs. I was like, that ain't right. They had to bring the mascots out to cut his wire, and then they started playing that song, Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks. is what helped the disproportionate black people, and from them selling rocks throughout their streets is what has helped put their people in behind the 8 ball, and what has Ohio and the city of Cleveland is so many black men separated from their family. All those Cleveland rocks. I'm just saying. When I hear Cleveland rocks, I hear a different thing. I'm from South Florida. Like, you say rocks, I still think about Tyrone Biggums. And saying, you don't know about me, Joe Rogan. Cleveland rocks. Oh, man. So, there actually are some more trade rumors revolving around the Knicks. Less than 6 minutes to go. The New York Knicks are down by 86-79 to the 6th place Cleveland Cavaliers.
We're talking trade rumors?
Well, there's a couple of trade rumors, right? There's a couple of trade rumors. And one trade rumor that has popped up recently is a trade rumor that may involve getting rid of Julius Randle and Kemba Walker. Which, can I tell you, I'm a fan of. Getting rid of both of them. I am fully over the Julius Cornelius Randle experience. I don't know if his middle name is Cornelius. I'm just going to give him different fancy middle names from here on out. Right? But Julius Archimedes Randle, like I'm over everything about him, to be honest with you. Like I'm ready for him to be gone from New York. I don't like how he's carried himself this year. This year, like I said sometime last week. This year kind of really helps you appreciate your consistent stars in the game, right? Not the guy that has had the most improved season and you're waiting to see if he can continue to have a great season. And great season and a great season. These guys did it consistently. Or are doing it consistently so far. So, nothing to take over. What's that?
Like talking about like the Durants and the Currys and the like consistent like that.
Yeah. Like them, like the LeBron Jameses of the world. Even once he found his footing as a star, the Jimmy Butlers, the DeMar DeRozans, right? Those guys, even on their levels, which we consider A-, maybe B+ at the lowest level, you know what I mean? At the worst, those guys are doing it consistently. Julius Randle has been able to do, and not only just doing it consistency, but also accepting and being able to take the pressure of being that guy that's required consistency from. And Julius Randle hasn't been holding up his end of the bargain. I'm sorry. Julius Randle really looks to me like one of those guys that he got paid and he no longer wants to play to his maximum efficiency. He's no longer going to the gym every night. You know what I mean? He's no longer getting up 2 hours worth of shots after every game or after bad losses. He's no longer doing that anymore. And you can tell. But the trade rumor that I'm hearing is going to involve one Minnesota Timberwolves that will send Kemba Walker and Julius Randle over to Minnesota for D'Angelo Russell, Josh Okogie, and a 21st first-round pick. And I'm letting you know right now, in a weird way, I think I'm taking this if I'm the Knicks. I think, and I know it's gonna be weird because it's gonna give them a point guard. It's also gonna take away a point guard, and it's gonna take away probably what their biggest scoring asset is. And once you take away Julius Randle, things are gonna start getting rough for everybody else out there. While Julius Randle may not be handling himself well, he is 100% taking all of the shrapnel for the team. He's taking the shrapnel when RJ Barrett has a bad game. He's taking the shrapnel for everybody else. You understand? You're next in line. You no longer can blame. They can't blame Derrick Rose. He's out injured. They can't blame Kemba Walker. They've benched him. They got tired of blaming Evan Fournier. We already know his defense is bad. The one person that they can blame to look at like, yo, you were good last year. What the fuck happened? Like, you're still in your prime. You shouldn't be falling off like MJ going to play for Washington.
I don't know, but they really gonna give up D'Angelo? Because I know they really like D'Angelo.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, this is a trade rumor. Like, I don't know how. It's a rumor. It's like a fantasy football tip. It's a rumor. It's not the rumor.
It Angelo, they really like Angelo.
I know. And I don't know. Basically, this trade seems very lopsided.
When he was with the Nets. So.
Yeah, this trade looks very lopsided to me because we all know by now that you have to temper Kemba Walker's minutes, and then we also know that Julius Randle hasn't been consistent yet. And you also talk about getting a 24 first round pick. Oh no, that's what they're gonna get. My bad. That's what they'll get. They'll get our 24 first round pick. That's not what they're giving up. They'll get our 24 first round pick. Like if I'm the Knicks, I may pull this. The only problem is I know how big. As much as I want to give it to Julius Randle, I know how much of a benefit he is to us. And if you think the losing is bad now, wait till there's no Julius Randle. But also with no Julius Randle, it may also force him to move the ball more. It may also open up for more back cuts. As I've already stated before, that when we have Obi Toppins and Quentin Grimes and RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin, the pace of this team automatically quickens. So we're gonna have to try to find some kind of like happy medium there. Now, since we get into a little bit of Knicks talk before we switch over, right?
Wait, hold on.
What?
Before you switch over, so you know, your boy, RJ Barrett has the number 14th most sold jerseys, right?
Yes, I do. And let's give him a big. That's one of the things we was gonna go ahead and big up towards the end of this Knicks talk segment. But definitely. Oh shit! I got rid of the big up sound. Oh wow! Hold on. Let's go ahead and use that for right now. Oh man, yeah, definitely. Like, you saw him with the number 14 selling jersey. That's a couple of things. Obviously he plays in the New York market, but as we know that there's an aftermarket.
But they're showing him love though, you know.
Oh no, they're definitely showing him love. But you know, there's an aftermarket. Not shit. There's an underground aftermarket. You know what I mean for jerseys like that. And also, if what he's been doing these last couple of games, if this is a sign to people that he's finally turning over that new leaf, then right now is the perfect time to get his jersey. Because this will be the last time before he sucked. And it was, you know what I mean? Which I don't think he sucks. Somebody that gets 17, 18 points a game doesn't suck to me. He just has to figure a few things out to break that 20. And he's starting to do that this year. And I mean this year as in calendar year. Since his calendar year has started, he has been consistently over 22 points a game. Now, one of the other cool things about the New York Knicks. Today is it's our anniversary. Our anniversary. Do you know what today is? It is
anniversary?
It is the 8th year anniversary of when Carmelo Anthony scored his career high and a Gordon high 63 points. What was it, 62? 63. That was 8 years ago today, folks. And the New York Knicks have come all the way back. If I just saw that screen correctly before my shit started freezing and lagging, that may have been 68 to 69 or 78 to 79. So it had to be like 78 to 79. And then obviously, like I said, that's the trade rumors for the New York Knicks. I already told you guys 89 to 90 actually, with just under 3 minutes left to go. And it looks like Mobley just hit himself a free throw to make this a 2-point game. Let's see what the New York Knicks do here. I forgot I was about to say something to you too, and I just forgot. Now, let's go ahead and switch over, right? Before we get too deep into football, right? Julius Randle with a hard take scores the game 91 all. This game is going to come down to the wire. Just like how a lot of the games that we got to see over this weekend came down to the wire. Let's go ahead and, before we start, give a nice little shout out to an individual, to our only representative from our, do the fuck Trae Young. That is funny, but you know what? I am here. I'm here for the shits in the game.
Oh, you thought Trae Young was still good?
Oh wait. Here we go.
Yo, you thought Trae Young was still good, bro?
Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young! Fuck Trae Young!
So before we
Shit, he did drop motherfucking 30 yesterday.
he did, but it wasn't 50. But it wasn't 50, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Actually, before we get directly over there, let's do a couple of things, right? Let's go ahead and pay tribute to everybody that has been affected by COVID, and let's go ahead and do what we like to call our 21 light salute, where we go ahead and flick our light 7 times in honor of everybody that has been affected by COVID. You understand? We know there's been a lot of people that has been impacted either by deaths, financial strains, or death's financial strain, or even just unrecoverable illness or whatever. But we want to go ahead and recognize everybody that has been mostly adversely by COVID. So let's go ahead and start flicking those lights 7 times. Can I get a light over here to flick for somebody? Thank you guys for handing that to me. All right, nope, that's not the light switch. Okay, that is the light switch. Let's go. All right, so that's gonna be 1, and we're not even close to being done. 2, we're not through. 3, that's from you to me. 4, we got a few more. 5 for those alive. 6, let's continue to stay in the mix. And 7 for all of those in heaven. Yes, folks, that is the 21 light salute, where we flick our light 7 times. And that was started by our co-host, one of the drunk uncles himself, Mark 21. My bad, Mark. I should have let you say that shit.
No, it's alright, because I gotta go back to work right now.
All right, bet. So as we transition, no doubt. I see as you coming in and out. As we get into our second segment, our second hour of the podcast, folks. I know you guys forget that our call-in hotline is officially open. If you have downloaded the Podbean app, you can call in and join the podcast through our hotline provided through the Podbean app, folks. If you're not listening through Podbean, then there's plenty of ways that you can listen to the podcast. Normally, I just tell people, just tell your smart speaker, play the latest episode of the MyT Sports Podcast. You gotta spell it out for that. It's M as in Mike, Y as in Yankee, T as in Tango Sports Podcast. It may be a small speaker, but it ain't that bright all the time. Right? Tell it to go ahead and play the latest episode of the Mighty Sports Podcast. It'll play whatever you listen to podcasts at. Google has a whole section for podcasts. It's over there too. Tune in wherever. You know what I mean? If you want to catch the live show, that's what you use the Podbean for. Or you go directly to my website, mytsports.net, or you can watch us live wherever you watch videos at. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. We're all there, B. We're all there. You understand? Not to mention all the archives are there on YouTube on YouTube as well. So you can listen if you want to. You can watch if you want to. You can do whatever you want. You just make sure you go ahead and share that. Go ahead and send that love if you can. So if you are listening, go ahead and like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? Hit that little button. Hit that little button that goes every single time I drop some shit, so you get a notification. So let's go ahead and switch it over to a little bit of Rock Nation Sports, folks. Because as you guys know here on the MyT Sports Podcast, we are the #1 podcast for all Rock Nation news, folks. Let's get into our Rock Nation report right now, folks. Now, it's been a quiet week, and if to say the least, for Rock Nation Sports, folks. Now, quiet in a sense that it wasn't a lot, but there was definitely statements being made. Unfortunately, these statements being made wasn't during a W. So what we gonna do with you? I know how we gonna get through. First shout out goes to number 13. For actually the only shout out, folks. It's almost like an honorable mention, but we know that's what we do here, right? Let's go ahead and get this Rock Nation athlete out of the way, folks. We want to give a shout out to number 13, the wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, Gabriel Davis, who had 4 touchdowns in a postseason game, folks. 8 receptions on 10 targets, 201 yards, 4 touchdowns. Only player in NFL history to have over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Only player in NFL history to have 4 touchdowns in a single playoff game. Unfortunately, it would not be well received, folks, for all of his heroics that was done by the Buffalo Bills wide receiver. And at the end of the day, they just really couldn't keep up. As we said to you before, folks, out of all of the 4 games, One of these things was not like the other. One of these things was not like the same. As these kids like to say that, and the kids like to say nowadays, folks, that just means that they different. In Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they different, folks. They're the only ones that had a game to go into overtime this weekend. They're the only one that had a game that was won by more than 3 points, folks. I wasn't won by exactly 3 points, folks. Maybe that was the caveat. They've had to play 2 games at once, like a regular season game and an overtime game. Maybe that's where you get the 6 points, 2 field goals, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? And folks, they were the only ones that were favored to win, to actually win, folks. Kansas City beat, I don't want to say they beat the brakes off of them, but they beat them 42-36 in a game that Buffalo had. I know we're gonna be hard pressed to be able to get any Buffalo fans on the podcast today, as they're probably still a little bit emotional distraught, and they're not ready to open up and let that wound bleed out, just so it can build that perfect scab so it can heal. Right? They over there still trying to nurse it. They're poking at it every single day. That shit, like not only is it fresh, but it's also kind of sore. You can see areas where it's pus and it could possibly get an infection. Like, let's go ahead and clean this up for you, baby. You know what I mean? No animal crackers shall go unchewed today. The Buffalo Bills had this game. That's the thing that probably made this so bad. And that may be the theme of what happened this weekend, period. But these games were here to have. And the Buffalo Bills were down by enough points with enough time that they should not have even been in position to tie this game. But we're talking about key turnovers, costly drops. It just didn't matter. Whatever reason that they could possibly find to not win this game is exactly what happened. And now here we are, sitting back here, talking to Buffalo fans, or talking to you guys, while Buffalo fans are out there. What are they doing out there? They're doing something out there. So Buffalo and Kansas City, they get into it, and this game is a shootout. This game, it probably culminates everything that we was watching this whole entire weekend, right? Where we had great games this weekend. A lot of them a little less high scoring than we would have liked it to be. But when it comes to playoff football, we already know that every game matters. And it's either yet you go hard or you go home. And speaking of going hard or go home, folks, we also have something that can help you go hard anytime that you are ready to go home, folks. And that is something called Blue Chew. What is Blue Chew? Blue Chew just happens to be a little blue pill that can give you back your thrill. All you'll have to do is open up a packet and head to the sack. Just a few chews before you do. You know what Pop said? Don't be pussy whipped. You gotta whip that pussy. Bang, 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 bang. So she's gonna love how you come through like a champ when you Blue Chew in advance. And if you use this week's promo code of what we got here for you guys. Where did love go? 5, 4, 3, 2. I let 1 go. Hey, Julius Aloysius. Oh shit! I don't know what the fuck just happened, but the New York Knicks are currently down 2 points, 95-93, 1.7 seconds left to go in this game. I know that my shit is buffering, so this game may even be over by the time it finished buffering. So while that finished buffering, you don't have to wait any ridiculous lag times or ridiculous times for you to go ahead and get your business done, folks. What am I talking about? I'm still talking about Blue Chew, folks. All you got to do is go ahead and grab yourself one of these little packs, and everything that you do in the sack will have her say, "Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac." Ooh, what it is. This week's promo code is GBKH. That's Golf Bravo Kilo Hotel. And you can get your first order of Blue Chew for free on me. The only requirement is that you pay for shipping and handling. Listen, I don't have to ask you to have to pay your postal workers, do I? Thank you. I didn't think I was gonna have to beg. Folks, New York Knicks have the ball on an inbound play, 95-93, 1.7 seconds left to go. Let's see what kind of play they execute to have. I ain't gonna lie, having a hard time staying awake here. And okay, are they about to run a play? I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, here we go. And folks, New York Knicks get a shot off, and they do not make that shot. It is 95 to, look at this. Inbound play. They get it to Julius like 80 feet from the thing. Yeah, Julius Randle basically catches the ball. Like, this is disgusting. He catches this ball basically in the corner of the half-court line. And then he takes a spinning fadeaway three-pointer to try to win the game. I don't even understand what that last play was. But listen, and this isn't just here that doesn't understand last plays. Folks, in Buffalo, they don't understand some of these last plays, folks. As Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes started catching fire towards the end of this game, as Buffalo was in great position to go ahead and take this game and win this game. Folks, even when they're talking about that after Buffalo came and they scored to go ahead and take the lead and make this what was basically a 3-point game at that time. All they needed to do what they could have done to go ahead and ice this game was not kick it out the end zone where you stop the clock and you give this team only 80 yards now to go to score, or even less than that to get into scoring position. Right? You're talking about the 80-yard line. You're talking about all you need is about maybe 30 more yards before your kicker's in field goal position these days. And what was said is that there was just basically way too much time being left on the clock. There was way too much time that was left on the clock for them to give Patrick Mahomes. And like I said, there's a couple of people that and you know when you fucked up, right? Yeah, you kind of generally know when you fuck up. And you can see that the coaching staff and everybody else kind of thought like, listen, this is an opportunity that definitely slipped between your fingers. To do a squib kick or to keep this ball in bounds in a sense means that they would have been allowing some time to go ahead and expire off of that clock. And now maybe Josh Allen doesn't have enough time to get off 2, maybe even 3 plays before he has to kick a field goal. That game could have possibly been over in one more drive and it's a wrap. But at the end of the day, what tends to happen is that when these teams with what's considered elite quarterbacks go into these no huddle or rush formations, right? They just tend not to miss for some odd reason. Like you could be stopped all goddamn season long. You could be stopped all year long. Now all of a sudden we got to go into a 2-minute drill and I can't stop you for shit. You trying to embarrass me, B? I ain't gonna lie. I can't wait till Wednesday so we can talk some more. So the Buffalo Bills end up being not like all of the other groups in its pair. It won by 6 points and it also won in overtime. Now in overtime, Buffalo will go ahead and get that ball first, and not Buffalo, but Kansas City will go ahead and get the ball first, and then after that it is murder she wrote. Murderer. You're a murderer, Jano. With too much time on the clock, they tied it. With the ball back after half or in overtime, Patrick Mahomes just basically he marches down, he scores. This is one of those times. I get it. It's Patrick Mahomes. I get it. These guys, but all you gotta do is get one stop. Like, if you're one of these better defenses, you need one stop. One freaking stop. Put your nose down and stop somebody. Because there's one thing that this weekend definitely showed us was
anybody can be beat.
And definitely
To beat a man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying anybody can be beat right here.
I ain't gonna lie, Buffalo kind of fucked the church's money, because if you were doing all underdogs, which I think a lot of people did, a decent amount of people did, which the energy felt that way. Now a lot of these underdogs were gonna come up with a victory this weekend, and folks, we saw 3 out of 4 underdogs win this week. Like, that is something for your Vegas books. 3 out of 4 win this week. Kansas City, the only one that didn't win by 3. But like all the other ones, it was basically a walk-off victory. They scored that touchdown, it's a wrap. All the other games, your kicker, who is barely even a real person, that was said to me by another NFL player. Right? Well, I heard another NFL player say that. So, kickers are barely even people until kickers matter. And kickers really mattered in this game, in this series. Now, while Patrick Mahomes is over there and represented for all of the light skins around the world, right? You know, yeah, he is another key representative in the lighter side of news. In the other end, right? We have what is the underdogs. So have no fear, folks. The underdogs are here. And they are led by the one and only Florida man. Well, folks, you know, in this game, Florida man just had to show his ass, folks. And what am I talking about? Tom Brady in this game. I ain't gonna lie. There was a point in this game where I really thought that Tampa was gonna win. There was a point in this game before they really started their drive. I was like, damn, y'all done pissed off the GOAT. And that is when they had that sketchy little what was supposed to be roughing the passer or some shit like that, and Tom Brady was trying to figure out where his call was at. His lip was busted, and there was a little bit of like helmet to helmet that kind of jarred him up there. And all I could remember thinking at that time was like, damn, they have pissed him off, and it's gonna be a wrap now. Because that is one of those streets that get blocked up if one little person is inconsiderate. So that's Tom Brady getting himself unsportsmanlike conduct or some shit like that for his behavior after what he thought was a penalty. The LA Rams, they would not allow all of these opportunities to go unattended. Because basically what they did is that they basically try to take advantage of all of these turnovers and all of these short field scenarios. Like I said, it was just crazy this weekend. Like, I'm not even just talking about, like, not even just what's happening in Buffalo and Kansas City. We're talking about San Francisco and Green Bay. Like, that is bananas. Oh, man, like, everything was crazy this weekend, and everything came down to the wire. And that's probably what made it so damn good. And that's what makes football so damn good, is that I know we didn't see any real shitty games this weekend, but even the shitty games, because of how football is set up, right, in its scoring, and even in its scoring and in its scheduling, it really makes things like this like really people friendly. Now, as far as our Florida man goes, right? Right, we have Tom Brady as Florida man, Exhibit A, right? Crying and complaining and trying to get one of those calls that Tom Brady normally gets. And like I said, I remember feeling to myself like, damn, they done pissed him off. He's gonna fuck them over now. And that wasn't quite the case, folks. As one of the first as one of the underdogs to fall, we see Tom Brady and his Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose to the LA Rams. And even as it's happening, I'm watching them like, oh, wow. Like, this is really over. Like, we can celebrate for, like, just a brief moment. Because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady or now Tampa Bay because Tom Brady is on there. And even more so, you guys know how I feel about Tom Brady. And that is,
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
I ain't gonna lie. We cut this podcast short today. We cut this podcast super short today. I can't keep my eyes open for nothing. It's those goddamn allergy pills, I'm telling you. But don't worry, folks. When we come back on Wednesday, like we'll go ahead and we'll dissect this next game that just passed, right? We won't have any Rock Nation sports probably to talk about. Who knows if we have any lighter side of news? We'll definitely go ahead and dive into the games that we just saw. At least the other half of them, right? Even a little bit more. Get some calls, get some participation from the callers. Let them know. Get a feel for how they felt so far this season about their team's progress and what kind of changes that they would like to possibly see happen. But while the underdogs started their little march, right, and it started with but one of the dominoes that we saw fall was the Florida man, and it was Tom Brady, and this was poetic justice to me in a sense, right, because I always hear everybody talk about the analysis of how to beat Tom Brady, but it's almost the analysis of how to beat any quarterback. The majority of them. Put pressure on that offensive line, make them feet happy, get them off their spot. The only time that Tom Brady has ever really fully lost is when he's gotten uncomfortable, had to tap dance like Gregory Hines or whatever. You know what I mean? And we moved him off his spot. And yet we just been giving him way too much time. That's why he said this is how this LA Rams team has been set up. They really have people that's able to rush from each corner and up the middle at the same time. We really have no time to breathe. And the fact that the fact that the LA Rams, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I should say, that they didn't have members on the offensive line. Like, you know what? That basically smelled barbecue chicken alert for the guys up there. It's exactly what you did to Patrick Mahomes, and now it's coming back to you. And you know what they say, karma's a bitch. And even though I don't want you here, but
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
so
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch. Where the bread at, Tom Brady? I need some bread, nigga. He owe me.
But it wasn't just Tom Brady's performance, right, on the field that would go noticed. It would also be of another Florida man's performance on the field. Right? And that is one Antonio Brown. Yes, folks. Antonio Brown decides to go ahead and interject his way into the conversation again. And that was when a fan shared something tagging Antonio Brown, stating that I'm holding up a sign saying that Tampa Bay lost, right? And that, you know, and it's a picture basically of him with his hands up, but it's in a attire that he had when he walked on the field a couple weeks ago. They're using a moment to glorify that moment. Well, you know what, J.R. Smith decided to J.R. Smith. I don't know why I'm calling him J.R. Smith. Antonio Brown. Jesus. Antonio Brown basically, damn it. All right, so he ends up sharing a meme that somebody else said, and it basically implicates that Tom Brady and Tampa Bay has lost. Now, I am gonna mention one thing, right? And it's so odd. It really is odd, and that is that while one Florida man couldn't perform when needed, blue chew. What he missed was his dysfunctional best friend in Florida. Still in a way, what they missed is what they missed. It was their dysfunctional best friend, and who that is Antonio Brown. They missed Antonio Brown, and even Chris. Oh my God, when to an extent, right? Because you started seeing this game when they clamped down on Mike Evans, who was having a beautiful game at that as well. They clamped down on Mike Evans, and they also clamped down on the tight end, Gronk, and made Tom Brady not only sit back there and have to go to progressions and have nowhere to throw to when it comes to those guys, but also have to find the third and fifth guy, while also now avoiding pressure. So, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a 1-year hiatus, if they would have had if Antonio Brown didn't have this little 1 year hiatus or this little few games hiatus, I am in full belief that Tampa Bay not only wins this game, but they're probably winning the Super Bowl if they have their guys. But listen, I'm not trying to have sympathy for them for not having their weapons. They beat a team last year who didn't have their weapons because of COVID. They've taken advantage of plenty of teams that didn't have their weapons. And throughout the years, they have taken advantage of lots of faulty play callings to help start your career and your dynasty. Now it just seems to see it finally on the other shoe, the shoe on the other foot, as Matthew Stafford gets a Tom Brady kind of call. But you know what? How we feel about Tom Brady?
I'm from New York, and you know what? Tom Brady's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, AB basically proved that they would have won if he was there. So I understand him hanging on the rim at that time. But why? Why? Unless you have conceded the fact that you probably are out of the league 100%. This would have been too many to account for. I know people say like, they probably would have found a way to win. I don't know. It would have been too many people to account for. I understand that you could have still sent 4 and even stunted with the 5th every once in a while to be able to still get that same kind of pressure while you had enough people out of the backfield. But why go all fancy for? That's what I'm curious about. But folks, I'm going to tell you something that you probably have never heard before or haven't heard in a really long ass time. I think that's the end of the show. I think I wanted to give you guys about an hour today, folks. We'll come back with a big 3-hour show on Wednesday night. Reason why? Number one reason? I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. I am tired. I am tired. I have had a busy day, and I took a Benadryl, and that shit is kicking the fuck in. And I feel like I am not just mumbling. I feel like I'm losing my train of thought every 2 seconds. So, folks, I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. Hope you guys continue to catch a wave that never subsides and continue to stay MyT. I'm your host, the one and Untitled Taylor. You guys be safe out there. Love you all. Thank you for joining the podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe. Push that little button that makes that little tingling noise in the back of your eardrum that goes every time I drop a new beat for you. Alright, people, I'm out of here. Hey, yo, DJ MyT, play my outro so I can stop rambling. Jesus.
Sorry, B.
Damn right you're sorry.
I tried.
Excuses.
Honest.
Excuses!
All the bandwidth in the world couldn't keep me contained. No
Why am I so tired?
lag.
Shit.
No lag. Gonna share my talents with Podbean Live. Always knew I'd take the pod there. Just a lot later than a lot of listeners thought. Last of the real gabbers. Well, maybe not the last. Munchkin got
I don't
good
even want to
mic
play some
skills.
2K. I'm fucking tired, dude.
New, improved MyT podcaster. Potting down now.
No, I'm up in the morning.
Last
I'm too tired.
call for
Just gonna
drugs.
put this together.
Bars closing. Sun's out. Heard the casino got a buffet breakfast. Don't wanna go far. Wild night. Tired, B. Tired. MyT!
Sports. I can't even help myself. Get me off camera. I'm a fucking fool. Bye.